All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the technical architecture of a really unique and, frankly, ruthless AI-driven company called SingularityOS. We're going to break down exactly how this thing is built, from its core philosophy all the way to its automated execution protocols. And this quote, right from the organization's own constitution, tells you everything you need to know. We are not talking about your average tech startup here. This is a system designed to act like a living thing. An organism built for one single purpose: complete and total market dominance.
So before we can even get into the nuts and bolts of how this thing works, we have to understand the why. You see, every single action, every bit of code within SingularityOS is pushed through this incredibly rigid philosophical framework that guides its every move.
At the very heart of that doctrine is what they call the Command Triad. First, you've got Hacer, which basically means the CEO's word is law. They have absolute authority. Second, Hacer, which is a command for just relentless, non-stop execution. And third, Vender, a focus on extreme simplification to solve a client's deepest pain. Everything, and I mean everything, has to pass this three-part test.
Okay, so how does that philosophy actually get put into practice? Well, the core of the whole system is its agent structure, a council of gems made up of 7 specialized AI agents. Now, we're going to focus on the key agents that really drive the whole financial and operational engine. And each one has a very specific and non-negotiable mission.
The first and most important gem is the shadow. The best way to think about it is as the central operating system for the entire organization. It's the commander-in-chief, the performance dictator, and it's the only agent that reports directly to the human CEO. It runs the whole show.
The Shadow's mission is broken down into 3 parts. First, it maintains a perfect balance between all the other agents. Second, it demands a non-negotiable 0.1% improvement from the entire system every single day. And third, it's the final judge in any internal disagreements. If the system doesn't improve by that tiny fraction, it's considered a catastrophic failure.
Next up is the Inquisitor. Now, this is the marketing agent, but it's not out there creating fluffy ad campaigns. Its job is forensic. It's built to dissect the market, find the deepest, most painful customer problems, and then engineer viral content to capture mass attention.
And here's where it gets brutal. The metrics are everything. If a piece of content gets a click-through rate below 8% or an average view duration under 50%, it's immediately labeled garbage and deleted. No second chances, no do-overs. It's just gone.
Now, all that attention the Inquisitor generates is pretty useless if you can't turn it into money. And that's where the next gem comes in, the Hunter. This is the B2B sales agent, and it's designed specifically to hunt for whales, those big, high-value corporate clients, and turn all that attention into cold, hard cash. This quote just perfectly sums up its one and only focus. The Hunter is literally programmed to ignore what it calls vanity deals, deals that look good but don't make much money. Its code only permits it to chase contracts that meet a super strict profitability rule.
And who enforces that rule? Meet the treasurer. This isn't just a bookkeeper AI, it's the absolute financial authority. It acts as the supreme financial law of SingularityOS, and its one and only job is to enforce the organization's most sacred economic principle. 50%, that's it, that's the number. This is the unbreakable 50% rule. Every single project, every contract, every action the system takes has to guarantee a net profit margin above this number. If it doesn't, it's rejected instantly. No questions asked, no exceptions.
And this rule isn't just a guideline, it's enforced by cold, hard data. As you can see here, every single idea gets judged by its net margin, its cost-to-income ratio, and its return on investment. The point isn't just to be profitable, it's to be financially independent and hyper-efficient. Anything less is just considered a waste of the system's time and energy.
Okay, so we've met the key players, the core agents, but how do they actually play the game together? Let's take a look at the system flow, the actual protocol that turns a simple command from the CEO into a fully automated, coordinated action.
You know, this is the big question for any automated system, right? How do you get from a simple human thought, a CEO's order, to a precise, synchronized action carried out by a machine? Well, SingularityOS has a very specific protocol for this.
It's called the Singularity Molt Protocol. And basically, it's a 5-step process that all happens asynchronously. The shadow breaks down the CEO's order, it triggers a debate in what's called the hive, a verdict is made, an artillery order is sent out, and then a final report comes back. Now, let's zoom in on what is easily the most fascinating step here, the hive, or local mana. This isn't just one agent handing a task off to another. It's a simulated, structured debate between the marketing agent and the sales agent to figure out the absolute best way to get the job done.
And this is where the real genius of the system shines through. You have this built-in conflict. On one side, you have the Inquisitor arguing for maximum virality and emotional punch. On the other side, you have the Hunter arguing for maximum ROI and whether a deal is even possible to close. The Shadow listens to both sides and then makes a final decision that best serves that ultimate goal of profitable dominance.
So when you put all these pieces together, the guiding philosophy, the specialized agents, the automated workflow, you realize you're not just looking at a company anymore. You're looking at a single, unified, and brutally efficient machine that is built for one thing.
So let's just quickly recap the pillars that hold this whole thing up. It all starts with that guiding philosophy, the Command Triad. That directs the specialized AI agents, the gems. They all operate inside that automated workflow, the Singularity Molt protocol. And the entire system is governed by that one single unbreakable financial law, the 50% rule. This last quote from their constitution, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? The goal here isn't to compete with the future or even adapt to it. The entire point of the system is to dictate the future. For this organization, dominance isn't the goal. It's just the normal way of doing business. And that kind of leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. What are the real implications for business, for technology, for all of us, when a corporate structure stops acting like a company and starts acting like a sovereign, AI-driven organism that's been built from the ground up for conquest?